Probably mine. Mine's pretty easy. I literally think about it probably once a week, but it might not be maybe a game where most say well, a great one, but I'd probably go with whenever Florida State was facing. I want to say this was 2010. Was it? When was Nigel Bradham's hit?
2011.
11, yeah, 2011 when Nigel Bradham had his hit. What was the name of the Miami wide receiver?
Was that LaRon Bird?
I'm trying to look.
Was it LaRon
right
Bird
now?
I don't remember that. I mean, like I remember when PK Sam speared Roscoe Parrish and put him in the hospital.
No, it was Stanford Samuel. It was Stanford.
Oh, Stanford Samuel was the first. Or sorry, the second.
Someone in the chat will tell us for sure, but that definitely be in the stadium for that. And watching Jimbo Fisher be absolutely livid about that call too, because it was an extremely clean hit. But that play's just going wild and how violent that was. I like linebackers that hit hard, and as long as you're being safe. But sometimes it's a rivalry. You're supposed to hit hard like that, and that just goes to show. Whenever I think of, since I've been little, Miami and Florida State, those are usually the biggest hitting games in the entire country. These guys don't like each other. They grew up with one another. They played each other already in high school and probably already didn't like each other then, but going to opposite schools from south up to north, and those guys just want to chirp, and then you get on the field and you just lay down on the line. But that Nigel Bradham hit, I mean, that was leveling and very scary to watch. But that was probably one of my favorite memories, at least being in person to watch that was incredible. And just watching Dalvin Cook do what he did too. I mean, there's just so many things that you could say about Dalvin and what he did, but at least in person to watch him play, there's just something about him that he just hit a different gear whenever he faced the Hurricanes. And I know Miami fans don't like that, nor do Gator fans, but sure do kind of miss him a little bit. Definitely Florida State's running game right now not doing so great. I was going to ask you, Cam, and just kind of either bring it up as a topic for us to talk about here, but going into this upcoming weekend's game, to me, Florida State's the pro for them right now is the pass rush. You know, Jermaine Johnson is Jermaine Johnson. He showed up and has been a great asset to Florida State, along with Keir Thomas, who had 2 sacks last weekend. Fabian Lovett from the inside there. Robert Cooper's doing his thing. Oh, my God, that looks atrocious in orange. Mark, get it off. Take it off. Put it on cam. I can't do it in orange.
Beautiful.
I can't even do it. My name. There's never any orange around in here. I don't think
my name in any color works. So, okay.
Yeah, it works for Mark. Yes, we'll let it go to Mark. But, you know, I think that's the pro in order to get to Van Dyke this upcoming weekend. I mean, that's what Florida State's going to have to take advantage of. And Florida State has been able to do that and rattle some quarterbacks for this one. Purposefully, this guy down there in Miami, he's on a trend right now, and it's going upwards. And the only way for Florida State, because right now I'm not trusting Jarian Jones in coverage. I'm not doing that. Brownlee, he's a lot more consistent than he has been. But, you know, I think you got Rambo, too, that Miami can use and utilize as a playmaker. But Florida State has had a tough time locking down those key guys. What are your thoughts about that pass rush from Florida State? Because that's going to be, I think, a pivotal part, the deciding factor for this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. Obviously, I'm very upset that we decided to take DeAndre Johnson through the portal and not your guy coming from Georgia. I mean, that's a choice. You know, I know DeAndre Johnson went to Southridge with, guys who have now made their way into the portal and off this roster. So that was a selection. I'm not really sure that was the wise one because, like, he's a monster. Accounting for him is going to be really key. Keir Thomas from Miami Central, another guy like you're talking about who everybody knows because he played with a bunch of guys on both sides of this rivalry from the inside. Just not letting Robert Cooper run over guys just because he's massive. Now we need Navon Donaldson, who is massiver, to really use his physicality in the kind of way where he can stand up to a Robert Cooper because he's 6'6", 350. So even as big as Robert Cooper is, like Navon Donaldson's bigger. So I need you to actually leverage that size and make it come alive on the field because we're going to need that. Like, that's why we have a guy your size to combat somebody Cooper's size. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you're here for. So I need you to rediscover the form from your freshman All-American season, Navon, and stand up and step up. Now, with Corey Gaynor out, we've moved Ja'Kai Clark off of a red shirt basically, but put him at center. And he's really been a revelation. So the offensive line has taken a step forward. But, there can be times when the tackles can be a little shaky in pass protection. So Zion Nelson on the left side, and I think we're going with Jared Williams, Jarrid, who played in college with De'Aaron King at Houston before coming over. Those are your bookend tackles. So you just got to really be sure that they are really in tune with their technique. And then also, it's a thing that we don't do much of, but I would like to see us chip an edge rusher with a running back or a tight end sometimes, because a guy like Jermaine Johnson, like, you can't just let him free rush. You can't just double team him with the guard who's, everybody knows that the guards and centers are the least athletic of the offensive linemen. I'm not saying that they're unathletic. I'm not saying the level of their athleticism is not the same as a tackle. So if you're relying on that guy to get out there and he might be 2 inches too short and a half step too slow to get there and make that double team, now you're leaving him one-on-one, and we don't need that. So I would like to see us chip a little bit more. But also, Miami is getting the ball out of Tyler Van Dyke's hands very quickly on a lot of these passes. I would like to see maybe a couple more mesh routes if you guys want to run man-to-man. And then we also have, the now screen and the bubble screens where we, extend the game horizontally to try to, get a crease to get a guy to then, make a guy miss and get vertical. So some of those things with getting the ball out of his hand quickly will also hopefully temper the pass rush enough for Miami's offense to be, to work.
Yeah. No, the Florida State's defense is, they're going to have to show up, but they've kept Florida State in games. We've seen that, and they've been able to perform some things, though, definitely against Clemson, just mistakes being made, and they're still a young team trying to understand and really understand the perspective of playing away. But this is a really good perk for Florida State to be at home. But this is Mike Norvell's first true rivalry game in person. Last season, he wasn't able to be there due to COVID and didn't play the Gators last year. So this is going to be his first time in person coaching. And so, Florida State defensively has to get after the quarterback, and Adam Fuller still, it seems like it's these last couple of games are what are gonna reflect on if he's gonna end up staying at Florida State, if they're gonna move on from him, or they're gonna go to a different option. So this is definitely a big time one, and they're gonna have to not only defensive ends like Kier and Jermaine Johnson, but Florida State's DBs has to play one of their best games this upcoming game. And I think they know that, but still, it's just so much inconsistency. You got young guys like Kevin Knowles, where he'll go into his first game and play. And, he's been a solid, guy coming in as a true freshman, but Jerrion Jones and guys like Miko Dotson, just some things that concern at least me covering the team. Too much inconsistency. And that's where a guy like y'all's quarterback with Van Dyke, he can come in and, kind of dice around if he wants. The pass rush just has to be there. They have to disrupt something.